Good afternoon and welcome. On behalf of Synovian Pharmaceuticals, we're very happy to actually be here today. I head up discovery research, translational medicine, and early clinical development at Synovian. We are excited to be part of this community of innovation, whether it be through our patient centricity, our innovation platforms as far as how we think about early clinical development, our biomarker development, and how we actually partner with the venture community as well as with government and the rest of the organizations to deliver on that next generation of medicines. The Synovian platform is really focused on CNS disorders, both in the field of psychiatry research, as well as in the field of neurology and in respiratory diseases. So we're actually part of a global pharmaceutical company known as Danipan Sumitomo Pharma, and so we have diversity of thought and modalities, both in terms of oncology, stem cells, and small molecules. Today, what I'd like to try and do is focus a little bit on innovation. Most of the people in the audience, I think, may recognize the green curve there that's known as Moore's Law. Of course, Gordon Moore, back in 1965 at Intel, actually said that the pace at which you would actually have computing increase and the cost would actually go and decrease in an exponential manner. It was 1995 when Craig Ventner actually sequenced the very first genome. And if you're Craig Ventner, you want to sequence something that's important. So he actually went after the flu vaccine. That was a flu vaccine. The flu virus was actually 2 million base pairs. It cost him about $1 billion. Fast forward 10 years to 2005, as you can see, we actually sequenced the first humans. That cost us about $3 billion in the Human Genome Project. How about in the audience? Anybody got a 23andMe kit shipped to their house or know somebody who's had a 23andMe kit? That's because in 2005, Illumina actually figured out the engineering to be able to go and deliver that next generation of sequencing. It's when engineers and chemists actually wound up going and joining the fight for medicines. In 2005, we actually have a whole new field of bioengineers that actually go and start to deliver on computational chemistry and genome biology. And so what we're interested here in Synovian is how do we go and take that engineering and that big data that's not just in the genomics that's going on over at the Broad with the Stanley Foundation, but how do we actually go and take those biomarkers, whether they're measured passively or actively, and actually incorporate them in our early clinical studies. Healthcare innovation is driving the marketplace. In our early studies, we're moving from our phase 3 programs all the way into our early clinical development strategies, where we're using devices such as a smartwatch with Empatica, where we can measure through skin galvanometry an epileptic seizure that might be going on in the patient to alert a mom or a dad or to alert a caregiver. The democratization of patients like me and how we actually recruit our patients into our studies is an opportunity for us to actually focus on other patient segments and how we can actually go and increase the probability of success. Why is it so important for us to be going and moving in a new way in terms of innovation? And why is that happening here in Massachusetts? Why is Synovian so interested in being part of that mass life science culture? If you went to clinicaltrials.gov tonight and you tried to actually enroll everybody in clinicaltrials.gov, it would take 1 in 6 people in the United States. Clearly, that model is broken. We can't enroll 60 million people in all of our clinical trials. Oh, and by the way, they're going to be in those clinical trials for 3 years. So what we have to do now is actually move earlier in our clinical development strategy, where we can take our objective measures that are measured on our smartphones, sleep spindles, respiration that we can measure with wearable technologies in our COPD patients, how we actually use our endpoints with respect to those seizure detection models to actually go and register those objective endpoints with the subjective measures that the regulators are interested in. We've recently actually moved into the field of bipolar depression. Our leading product is actually registered in bipolar depression, and we're interested in actually making the next generation of drugs. We've taken data from a large EU registration database and the existing pharmacology that we're aware of, and actually gone and started a whole new program in a matter of 2 years. We've relied on imaging, we've relied on wrist accelerometers, and we've relied on identified patient populations in order for us to go and accelerate those clinical studies to deliver this next breakthrough medicine for our patients. The machine learning that's going on here in the greater Massachusetts life science culture is a consortium now of both mathematicians, statistical biologists, and computational modelers. We use this work to actually go and look at our imaging endpoints as far as how we pick our doses for our patient populations. We're using our computational models for the past 10 years to actually go and identify the whole new pathways. That's that rainbow image that you see in the middle of the slide, to actually go and inform the next generation of drugs that have never been registered as far as our opportunity is concerned. We've done this in collaboration with a small company on the outside. And it's really that space where we think about entrepreneurs that are coming up with new programs, the computational modeling, the academics, and our patients to go and come up with the next generation. On the far right, you actually see how we use machine learning to be able to have predictive power about which patients are going to respond in our clinical studies, which patients will actually have a placebo response, and which patients will actually stay in our clinical studies or actually discontinue as a result of the medication not working. We think that we're going to deliver on this next generation of drugs by actually going and increasing the probability of success and delivering those innovative products. Finally, we believe that the process of actually continual learning, the Kaizen approach of how we actually go and think about a hypothesis generation with the engineers, as well as with the scientists, with our academic partners, with our partners in biotechnology, with the computational modelers, as well as with the genetics that's going on in the field, even at the Broad and with the Stanley Foundation, we'll be able to actually go and continually learn, take that knowledge, put it back into our earlier clinical studies, and through that process, we will actually go and create those healthier tomorrows by innovating today. So on behalf of Synovion, we're really excited to be here to talk about the state of the possible. We're really excited about medical innovation in both COPD as well as in CNS, and we look forward to delivering that next generation of products for our patients. Thank you.